Test, 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 test. Yeah, so we're good. Okay. With Okay, I'll be here in an hour. Okay, mute your computer. Mute your computer.
But now the last thing is we don't want Tony sitting right in front of the mic stand.
Right. Why don't we put the mics in? Yeah, we'll go that way. Hey, we got plenty of room. Yeah,
And we don't want to speak right in front of the.
right. We don't want to shadow. I would kick it a little further and then we can run this. Oh.
This is how we want it.
Looks good to me. And I've got a computer on there. I'll just get, but it's not the most flattering angle for a camera. But... Yeah. What a dummy setup. Yeah. You know, I thought one of the best. I don't know if our cable. I don't think our cable's. I don't think our cable's long enough to get it up there from the. It's even if it's just a little higher. Oh yeah, here we go. Oh hell yeah. Oh yeah, dude, it's disconnecting. Yeah, this. Actually, no, it's like a proper jam.
Can we move it to the front there?
We want as close as possible for the audio because the audio is being picked up on here.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, but they're gonna be talking to the microphone. So you can come with the speak. That's true. It'll be fine. Well, I'll defer to whatever. Yeah, no, yeah. Let's do that front.
no, that was.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that looks really good. I like that.
Is it point in the right place?
Yep. Yeah, so if you're standing there like you're talking. Yep, no, we're good.
That's it. Same. Great. All right. That's not working.
Yeah, I can't get the clicker to work. I'm gonna have to run it. Yeah. Well, no, we gotta install it. We gotta figure out, there's probably a power plug setting that's wrong, but we're out of time, so I'll just run it. It'll work next.
We'll start me. Third slide.
What, third slide?
Is the volume at the right level for this thing?
It should be, I was playing with it.
Good evening. Good evening.
I'll turn it on.
Right. August Precinct membership meeting. Thanks everybody for being here. Let's see if we can get a little more volume in this slide. It's a little warm in here. Apologize for the temperature. Definitely thanks everybody for being here. You should have a copy of the agenda on your seats. There are other business we're going to go over tonight. And maybe get to the next slide. Arlington Democrats, not that one. Yeah, every meeting is welcome at an Arlington Democrats meeting, so thank you all for being here. How many first-time visitors do we have in the room today? 2, 3 hands up. Thank you everybody for being here. What brought you here today?
I do work in politics, to our
Awesome. Thank you so much. We're ready to work on the Hunter campaign. Cincinnati, Ohio. Thank you so much for doing that. We're working hard here as well. Anyone else? Sarah, thank you so much. Some of our elected officials, I see our Commonwealth Attorney, Carissa Deganataki is here. Our treasurer, Carla de la Pava, is here. Welcome, Carla. Former State Senator Mary Margaret Whipple is joining us today. And I'm sure I missed somebody. Taka's Karen Tony. Taka. Also our joint campaign co-chair this year. So great to have everybody here today. Next slide. So maybe the next one. Where's that one that got the applause? There you go. Well, our visitors were making finding a positive result yesterday in Kansas. We're going to fighting this fight in every state this year. In Virginia, it's all about re-electing our Democrats to Congress to help combat abortion rights. And next slide. So just a couple of quick announcements before we get into the program. Our second Saturday breakfast is back. It's going to be August 13th. We've got Planned Parenthood come to talk to us. It's a little bit different. It's at Bus Boys and Poets in Shirlington, very near here. A little different format than it was pre-pandemic. Everyone can pay separately for their meal. That's nice, but we're also recruiting sponsors for anyone who wants to sponsor a breakfast. That's out there. All you have to do is send an email to breakfast@arlingtondemocrats.org and we'll help you figure out how to do that. Next. All right, so I guess that's is that it for announcements? I guess so. August 20, Mike's got one.
Yeah, just want to announce the county fair. We need volunteers.
Absolutely. What's the date on the county fair, Mike?
Not this weekend, but the weekend after.
2 weeks, county fair. We definitely need a lot of volunteers. It's the best time you're going to have in Arlington. And if you want to sign up, can you do that on Facebook? Or
You do it on Facebook or come see me. Come find me. I'll get you all signed up. If you're on there, I'm going to send out an email this week as well. So.
Awesome. Sign up on Facebook or talk to Mike before you get out of here today. And August 26th is National Women's Equality Day. That is the day that the 19th Amendment was certified by Congress. So each month we try to feature one of our caucuses. And I thought it would be nice this month if we obviously going to feature the Women's Caucus, but have invited former Senator Mary Margaret Whipple to come up and just tell us a little bit about her career and whatever she chooses to share with us. Mary Margaret, thank you so much for joining us today.
Good evening, Arlington Democrats. Opportunity to join you on Women's Equality Month, we're going to call it, although the special day is coming along later. Steve thought I could at least begin with telling you a little bit about my background as an elected woman getting elected. I started out in a position on the school board, but then ran the county board. And I must say at that time, there were already 2 women on the county board out of 5. So it wasn't unusual, and it didn't, being a woman didn't really enter into my thinking about running for the county board as much as some other issues, like could I really knock on all those doors and all that. And then when I ran for the Senate, that was a little bit different. When you run, the Virginia General Assembly, there just weren't very many women in the General Assembly at the time. And not that it was so hard to be elected for Farmington, because people knew me, and I'd been on the county board, but that's also part of my message. I had been the chairman of the Arlington County Board. The other 2 women who were elected the year I was to the Virginia Senate. One was Patsy Tyser, who'd been mayor out of Syria. One was Emily Curry, who'd been chair of the school board in Charlottesville. And you definitely had to be somebody who had a demonstrated background and experience and qualifications. I mean, couldn't just pop up and say, I want to run for Senate of Virginia. Had to really work at it. When I joined the Senate, were only 4 women, and then the 3 of us elected that year made 7. We thought, oh, this is a terrific number. And it's a little bit more now, but it's not vastly more 10 at the moment. Our board did us that. But one thing that did happen to me when I was in the Senate was that I was elected the head of the chairman of the Senate Democratic Caucus. And that turned out that it was a leadership position in the Senate. And I was the first woman to ever hold a leadership position in the Virginia Senate, whole Virginia General Assembly ever. So that was pretty exciting. And I'm so glad to report that's old news now, and that many more women have been elected to leadership positions in the General Assembly since then, including Eileen Billerhorn having been Speaker of the House. So it's a different world, and it builds up gradually. So I've been thinking about women's equality, and I'm thinking about family fathers. And I really wish they, instead of all men are created equal, they should have said all people are created equal.
Yeah.
They've done that. That leads me to the ERA. I remember being so excited when Congress approved the Equal Rights and sent it to the states for ratification. And I think like 30 states ratified it right away. And then, of course, Virginia was not among them. So a few years later, we thought we had a really good chance. I think it was 78. And Chuck Robb was lieutenant governor. We thought there was, I wasn't in this, I was just observing this from afar, but he thought there was going to be a tie vote. Chuck Robb, as lieutenant governor, his credit was president of the Senate, and he could cast the deciding vote to make him to ratify the Equal Rights Amendment. Well, one of the Republican senators had another idea. So he didn't vote. He claimed he had a conflict of interest. He voted what's called Rule 36 in the Senate. And so he asked, well, what is your conflict? Well, he said, I have a wife and daughters, so I can't possibly vote on the Equal Rights Amendment. I tell you that story to say, to always remember how much one person can make a difference. That guy scuttled Virginia's ratification of the Equal Rights Amendment that arguably discouraged other states from doing so. And the only good news is that 40 years later, Virginia finally ratified the ERA in 2020. So it's a sad story. Yeah. So I guess one thing I wanted to mention is that in the 70s, when the Equal Rights Amendment was passed by Congress. I'm just so hopeful for the future. So many good things were happening. Roe v. Wade came through. We have good environmental laws, Clean Water Act and Clean Air Act. And just thinking that when I got old, everything would be in great shape. And it's been very discouraging to find out that that's not the case. And that leads me to the Supreme Court ruling portion. To just imagine that that has changed after 50 years, people believing that to be their constitutional right. And I'm old enough to remember before Roe v. Wade. And I can tell you some very sad stories about what the situations were like for women and young then. And it's hard to think that this ruling has come down and that we've got to fight this battle all over again. The only thing that gives me a bit of hope is Kansas yesterday. The lesson from Kansas is something that Arlington Democrats know well, and that is that you have to work to make things happen. Voting is really important, but voting is enough. And we have to do and have done what they did in Kansas these last few weeks. So they went door to door and talked to people one by one and persuaded them and got them to the polls. The truth of the matter is, politics is important. You have to have the right values, the right issues, and we have those, but you can't just sit back and let things take their natural course. You really do have to go out, persuade people, make them knowledgeable about issues in voting and getting them to the polls. And that's what the Arlington Democrats have excelled at over the years and have even done the program of moving beyond Arlington, which is exactly what we needed to do because it needs quite as much work here as we needed in other districts of Virginia. So I congratulate all of you being here to be willing to put the work in to make the right things happen.
And thank you so much, Senator Whipple. Great words, greatly appreciated. It looks like we've got a couple more electeds in the House. Delegate Alfonso Lopez, welcome. Fine, and thought I saw someone else coming in. Here we go, Matt DeFerranti. Senator Whipple is exactly right. You know, we need great candidates every year. We need to help and support women candidates to make certain that we have more than 7 senators in the state senate, or 11 wherever we are now. If there's 40 people in the state senate, there's no reason we should have less than 20 women senators or 50 women in the House. And we have supported great candidates one at a time. And thank you for mentioning Beyond Arlington. It was such a joy back in 2017 when so many women did step up to run, and there were so many great candidates that we were able to support through phone banking in Kansas City. Part of that is going to be resolved through our terrific women's caucus, who now has a brand new chair. And I want to invite up Julie Farna to speak briefly and give you her name for the women.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Julie Farna, as it says, I'm on the board there. So I am the new chair, but not the new chair. I was the chair when the caucus got started a couple of years ago. I had to take a break because of my job, ironically enough, I went to the Hill to do my time in politics. And so caucus really off the ground because there is no time limit. More than ever now, we need to do a lot of women's caucus. So some of the goals, of course, the primary goal right now is to grow membership and to make it an active, vibrant caucus. And I need all of your help. We do have a Facebook page. We have a meeting coming up in a couple weeks on the 16th Tuesday, 7 o'clock. We will have both in-person and virtual options to attend. I think we're going to have it at Tarouche on the island here in Arlington, which is delicious food as well. So hopefully you will join us then. So in addition to what I just mentioned too, with as we start to grow the caucus, what I want to do is I want to promote some of the other initiatives that some of the other groups here in Arlington Democrats are what they're doing. So like beyond Arlington and helping to canvas. So we are in Arlington people here. I've been promoting. Yeah, I've been promoting a lot of your canvassing for Maria and Spanberger coming up. So that, and then also food families, postcard writing. I love to write postcards as I'm watching Netflix at night. So if you'd like to do that too. And that's definitely helpful. And then I'm also trying to partner with some of the other women's caucuses in the area. Fairfax has a really active women's caucus. So I reached out to their chair, also reached out to the Alexandria, I like to have a women's caucus class. We can try to get some things going together. And then of course the goals for the caucus. One is developing a strategy to counter Governor Youngkin's efforts to restrict abortion rights. It's been clear that he wants to restrict them, and I don't want to see that happen. I have 2 young daughters. I don't want the future of Virginia to be that for them. And then, as we were just talking, supporting candidates in key races. Right now, we'll make up 31% of the population. In Congress, they are at 27% of people in Congress at the federal level. And that's not good. We just close that gap. And that means supporting women, not just at the federal level, but at the state level as well. And local. And local, yes, of course, and local. And then registering voters, getting more voters involved. So I deal a lot with extremists in my job and domestic terrorism and the far right. And so there's this guy, his name is Scott Presler, maybe you know him, I think he lives around here. And he is a big advocate for registering Republican voters. And he posts on Telegram all the time. Like, New Mexico's got 1,900 new Republican voters. I want to compete with them, and I want to say, well, now they have 1,101 Democrat voters. Yeah. That's really good. And there's a lot of opportunity here. So we're all talking about abortion rights and Roe v. Wade, and it's a nuanced issue, right? Like abortion is not necessarily cutting through red and blue. Like there are a lot of opportunities to recruit independent voters and also younger voters and people who wouldn't normally vote. Younger voters tend to be more pro-abortion rights, and so let's get that engaged early. All right, I think that's all I have. But I hope you guys check out the Facebook page, sign up, join the group, and come to our meeting and be active. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Celia. Thanks for being back and restarting our women's caucus. We do have a woman candidate right here in Arlington this year. It's Bethany Sutton running for school board. Our candidate here for. And I know each and every one of us is going to do whatever we can to support her campaign. Please, if you have not already done so, go to Facebook and like her Facebook page. Take out your phone right now if you haven't done so previously. And let's do what we can to help Bethany in 2022 to make sure she gets on the school board. And yes, Laura.
Let me give you this report for when I do this meeting that the top 300. I have a dare for everyone in this room. If you haven't already liked Bethany Sutton for Arlington Public Schools page, go there and let's support our candidate. She's a wonderful woman candidate in a year when women really, really need to be supported. And she is running against a candidate is out there. He may have access to resources we haven't even heard of yet, but he's out there. He canvassed in my neighborhood just to. So let's like her page. Let's start turning out for her. I'm gonna get an email with Ronald. Twice. Our endorsed support campaign for 9 o'clock.
Thank you so much, Laura. A lot of supplement campaigns. Great support right there. All right, next, and speaking of campaigns, our joint campaign is working hard, and I know Praveen Mayan is here to get us up to date on some of the things joint campaigns working on. Thank you so much, Praveen.
Hi, good evening, Democrats. My name is Praveen Mayan. I'm honored to be one of your co-chairs of the joint campaign this year, along with our county board member, Thomas Karantonis, Matthew Warner, and Karen Isabella. So just want to give you updates. We'll be doing these monthly moving forward, just to one joint campaign has been coordinating with the campaign and our committee and making sure we elect our Democrats on the down ballot. So we just want to report on the school board bond issue that we were all voting on. So all 6 bonds, the committee has voted to endorse overwhelmingly. You can see the results up there. So all of our literature moving forward will include vote yes for all the school bonds. Yes, on the referendums. So we were going to share some of our tentative dates with you for the gold card events. More details will be coming soon regarding pricing, when and where these events are taking place. But we just wanted to get these on your radar. So the tentative dates are September 5th for the chili cook-off, September 17th for honoring the senior den. We'll be partnering with the Arlington Young Democrats October 1st for Oktoberfest. And October 15th will be the Golden Day. So more information on that soon, and we can check with our partners in the ACD to make sure that we don't do it on a date where also the kind of King will be taking place. So please save those dates on your calendar. Dollar for Dems. We will be moving forward with that soon with the committee. So some dates to keep in mind for that are August 16th, where we'll be stuffing, sealing, stamping the envelopes to go out, and then September 3rd is when the mailing will occur. So in 2021, Dollars for Dems actually raised $23,000, and they have raised $151,000 since 2015. So certainly that adds to our resources. And we will be sending that letter to about 1,697 donors, and hopefully we are able to exceed our number from 2021. Median size. So August 22nd is the first day that we can place median signs on the medians. Early in-person voting begins on Friday, September 23rd. Carol Burnett and Mark Teal will be organizing that. So a volunteer email will be going out in a couple of weeks. The joint campaign is exploring doing a limited number of yard signs that feature all 3 candidates on the ballot. So we'll have more information on that soon. That will also be going up on the medians to make sure we're promoting our Democrats here in Arlington. Our 2022 Arlington Canvas goal. So we have set a goal of 15,000 doors that we hope to meet and exceed that. Our Canvas launch will be very soon on August 13th at 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. To sign up, please email Mark Teal. We have his email up there, and we'll also be sending that out over the ACDC newsletter. Bethany Sutton campaign is actually co-sponsoring that, so we'll hope to launch earlier and be able to make sure that we hit all 15,000 of those doors this fall. And that's it for joint campaign this month. We hope to have more information next month. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being in. Matt, anything you wanted to add to that canvas request, or? 59 doors a day. Thank you. All right, so our chair of precinct ops and the deputy chair of precinct ops are both on vacation this week. So I'll give a couple quick updates for them. Precinct captain training number 3 is coming up. Next week, you got 3 days, Monday, Thursday, or Sunday. Are your options. This will be the final precinct captain training of the year. And it's going to focus on the messenger delivery and whole breeding volunteer recruitment. So if you're a precinct captain and you have not attended one of these in the past, we do encourage you to do so. If you're a new precinct captain, please mark your calendar for that important date. Additionally, precinct ops and voter support are teaming up to draft an all hands on deck email for messenger and poll greeting. They're working on the messaging plans. Sarah's got that pegged at Saturday, September 17th. Sounds good. Be on the lookout for that email. Also, be sure to mark your calendars for November 8th because we have a really big volunteer list on that day. And it's never too early to start planning your volunteers for election day. That's all we have for precinct operations. Graydon is going to come up and tell us all the great things the AYDs are doing now.
Thanks, Steve. Well, first of all, next slide. So we had a slightly less busy July last month. 2 of our caucuses, the Housing, Environment, and Infrastructure Caucus and the Health, Education, and Disability Advocacy Caucus. Both had events on May 12th and 13th respectively. And we also partnered with ArlDems for the Aei Caucus, E celebration on the 20th. Next slide. We also had, of course, annual membership barbecue on the 23rd. Thank you. Everyone who came out for us. It was lovely. It was a wonderful day, slightly hot. At the park, but it was still very wonderful to see everyone. There was hot dogs, there was burgers, it was food. And so then also on the 26th, we had a special election. The body meeting, congratulations to Na. Sadu, she is our new diversity and inclusion director. And then finally this one. We had our ARD goes to the Nats game on the 1st. Lots of people showed up. It was loads of fun. Then on the 23rd, we're going to go see Black Panther outdoors at Georgetown, where they'll be set up in a big inflatable movie screen on the waterfront park. It's really nice, and we'll go watch it because it's actually a good movie. And yeah, and hopefully just remember what happened before we see the sequel and at the end of the year. And finally, on the period, we're having our discussion on the future of the Democratic Party. It's a Zoom meeting. It'll be on the 30th. The link will be going out shortly. It'll be a very exciting and very fascinating discussion about where we go from here. And that is where we are currently at for Arlington and ArlDems. All right. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Graydon. I'm going to welcome up Sangeeta Rao for our outreach report. And our CR Board Johnson. I know we've got.
I'm supporting.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Next slide. Next slide. That's fine. Okay, first, we're going to talk about the Aei Caucus. You know, it's kind of been, it's been reorganizing it. And I'm proud to say we have a new co-chair. Her name is Sarah Curran. So Sarah is what we call a Swindian. She's half Swedish and half Indian. Isn't that cool? She is a Crystal City native and a graduate of GMU, class of 2021. Okay, next slide. Black Caucus. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, here we go. Yes, so we just had the happy hour with the Black Caucus, 2 weeks ago. And, Maya Jones sadly stepped down and we have elected 2 chairs. First is Kenya Pennington, you may know her from AYD, and as well as John McDaniels. So we thank Maya for her years of service to the Black Caucus. And then there's also going to be a school supplies drive and some efforts with the Green Valley Civics Association grants. Next slide, please. Okay, labor, this is a labor caucus. Do you want to talk about labor or this is caucus?
Keith is like,
No.
contact Keith if you want to join the labor caucus. I think they're, he's pretty regularly meeting every other week.
Now it's the first.
Okay, what's fun?
First Thursday.
I'm our with the business caucus, and we are really just trying to encourage all of our members and all of our Democrats to support our small business. These are committed to this. We want it to continue past COVID. So I'm not going to go through everything, but and Kevin McCaffrey, in addition to his other responsibilities, helps out a lot. I don't think Doug is here, but he's my trustee co-chair. I would like to encourage everyone here to find your local neighborhood association and or bid. The 3 bids are Ballston, Roslyn, and then National Landing. And then Columbia Pike is not officially a bid, but they do a lot of things. So please check out, they're having movie nights, they're having concerts. And ArlDems will be at a lot of these things, but not all. So I would really just encourage you to go, because this is our community, and this is where we can see our neighbors and support our neighbors and small businesses. And specifically, NAACP Arlington has been sending out a Black-owned business notice, which is awesome. Columbia Pike has a Hispanic Latinx-owned business directory. Our own Aei Caucus, I know, has a spreadsheet of Asian American-owned businesses. So I would encourage you to just try to find your own local small business and support it. And then the other thing is, Alexander read this for me last month, but I would love to have anything that ArlDems does in terms of spending money, school drives. If possible, let's try to buy local rather than just an Amazon link. I know it's easier. But if we can support small businesses, that would be awesome. So even if it's just, you know, for the pencils, for the crayons, there are locally owned toy stores and those things. So I'll happily connect with the Black Caucus folks to try to help make it easier. That's it. We have a grand plan to try to focus on infrastructure and what we think it means as Democrats to have an inclusive infrastructure for our businesses, big and small, and also just to have an inclusive economy. So at some point we'll get together and talk about that. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Clear. Daniel's going to talk about the disabilities caucus. Next slide, please.
Okay, well, thanks everyone. I'm Daniel Davis, chair of the Disabilities Issues Caucus. Over the last month, we worked with ArlDems, and special thanks to Communications Chair Paul Rees and his vice chair for the social media you may have seen on the anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act. We featured the profile of Rosemary Ciotti, an active ArlDem who's often attended meetings, who and also served on the planning commission, who has worked actively on disability rights issues. And I encourage you to check out that feature to learn a little bit more about the Americans with Disabilities Act. A couple of other points. We are, and I in fact just discussed this with Matt. We are planning in the near future, at Matt's convenience, to have a meeting with Matt DiFerrante, about some issues of interest to the disability community as well as his campaign. And in the process, now we're in the process of filling very big shoes of our very capable vice chair, and as well as a communications director vacancy. And if anyone is interested in getting more involved in leadership, please contact me. Thanks.
Okay, next slide, please. Equality Caucus. So Jonathan can't make it tonight, so I'm going to speak on his behalf. Next slide, please. So there is, tonight is the deadline. We say gay in our Commonwealth, and we oppose discrimination in our schools. Like Youngkin and the Department of Education know, we oppose SB 656 draft model policy. There's more info in the link and on their Instagram and Facebook group. Next slide, please. This will be Fatima for Interfaith, which was a lovely event.
Okay, well, you guys know what I'm going to be talking about tonight. It's our Interfaith Meet event. But before I go there, I just wanted to, could we go back to the previous slide for a moment? Just wanted to highlight our next meeting, which is going to be next Tuesday at 7:30. I mean, sorry, 7 o'clock. Sorry, on Zoom. We are still inviting volunteers to work with our caucus, and I'd like to build that out and have more officers and have a greater, more structured environment. I think that's going to happen because we generated a lot of interest at the Eid celebration. The email address where you can contact me is interfaithcaucus@arlingtondemocrats.org. And our Facebook page, please, hey, you know what? I'm going to take this opportunity right now and ask everybody to go to that Facebook page and become a member. Please, we're at the 300 mark, and I'm very proud to say that. I was going to say that in the next couple of slides, but I decided to do it now instead. So take out your phones and become a member. Engage with us, please. All right, please. Okay, and there it is, the 300 mark. So I'm really thrilled. It took us a while to get there, but we have a pretty robust engagement on that page. Next slide, please. Okay, so getting to the Interfaith Meet. Resounding success. We had a full house. Well, actually, go ahead to the next slide, please. Yeah, I can talk while you look at the pictures. So, see if I can do this for 2 hands here. Yes, we have a full house in Lover Run. Congressman Byer was there and he provided Eid greetings. We had 3 inspirational speakers. What was really encouraging is I saw quite a few of you out there. I see you in the audience. Thank you for coming. I hope you enjoyed it. We had local and out-of-state electeds in attendance. We supported also one thing that's really close to my heart, and not because I'm of Syrian heritage, but because I care about refugees and because I care about immigrants and people that are vulnerable in our community, is that we try to support the Syrian refugees by having a catered meal. We do that every year just to make sure that we take care of them, and they also provide a yummy spread. One feature of the Interfaith Meet this year was a Turkish talking lady. If you haven't been to the Turkish talking lady, I'm not here to really plug her necessarily, although it's a business, but you missed it if you weren't at the Interfaith Meet. It was really pretty cool. And there was a musician and a number of friends of refugees, and voter registration, lots of, and of course, as I mentioned, there's lots of interest in our caucus from individuals and nonprofit organizations. So success all around, and thank you all for, everybody that participated in that. Let's go to that last picture, please. Next one. Yeah, there it is. There's our volunteer team. Oh, thank you. Really went all out to make this happen. Thank you again.
Thank you. Hi. I'm Kevin, City of Merge, the chair for the Latino Caucus. We had a really great last several weeks. We had our second ever monthly meetup. It's this sort of new format that we're taking about on monthly meetings rather than just sort of getting a bunch of people into a Zoom call and chit-chatting amongst ourselves for now. Why not do something a little more social, a little more engaged, and hopefully try and hit a couple of Latino-owned or at least Latino themed restaurants that we have here in Arlington. We had a great little meetup at Inca Social, just reopened up, I think, in the Roslyn Courthouse area. It's Peruvian food. My dad's Peruvian, so I'm particularly partial to it, but I gotta say it was delicious, and I very much recommend if you have the chance that you take it. We also had the really fantastic opportunity this week to participate in a Latino Leaders Community Town Hall with Senator Mark Warner that his office set up with the Virginia Coalition for Immigrant Rights. And our executive board was invited. It was just a really great opportunity for a lot of different advocates to have an intimate conversation with the senator. I understand that it was either his first or one of his first in-person events since the beginning of the pandemic. So it was a really great opportunity for us to be in that space with him and to have that time. So next slide. And yeah, just a Inca Social again, and then a couple other opportunities that we have coming up to join the Latino Caucus and hear about some of the work that we're doing. First and foremost, we've got our next monthly meetup coming up on Saturday, August 27th. Make sure to pencil that in. And then most importantly, our second Hispanic Heritage Month celebration, we are planning for Sunday, September 25th. So I very much recommend if many of y'all were there last year. It was a really wonderful event that we had in Occupies Park. Fortunately, I think there is construction in that park this year, so we're looking around for a bit of a different format this year, but it still promises to be a really great event. That's all I got, and I will also plug our Facebook group. Please join us on Facebook and follow us along. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Brian Coleman, and I'm a member of the Veterans and Military Families Caucus. First, I'd like to say that yes, Inca Social is fantastic. I'm often there, BJ and A+, and haven't been there, please, I implore you, go. First, I want to say that the Veterans and Military Families Caucus is still doing their food drive. So if you look over there to your left, you'll see some of the donations we have, and if you feel obliged, please, we really appreciate anything you can give. Secondly, if you are a veteran or a family member veteran like myself, we would really love to have more people in our caucus because I'm pretty sure many of you in the audience know that recently the PACT Act was passed. Thank God. Those who were able to be at the Burn Pit organization's nightly rally outside of Capitol Hill. I was there myself on Monday, but if anyone who was there, I really appreciate you showing up because we know that through those efforts, the GOP finally sobered up and remember the hard rule of politics: do not screw over veterans. And something looking forward, I'm including the Black Caucus as well as the Veterans Military Families Caucus are planning a joint event next month oriented around the theme of living in a time of conflict. My father, grandfather, and great grandfather all served in the United States Army. Father in Vietnam, grandfather was in World War II, great grandfather in the Spanish American War. And something that I've never had the fortune of meeting my great grandfather, but something that my grandfather told me was not only his time serving, he served in France, but when he disembarked, returning to the United States, one of the first things he was told was to get to the back of the bus. He was still in the military, by the way. And something that I think is extremely important that we remember, not just as a Democratic Party, but as a nation, is that the history of this country is checkered, to say the least. And that only by really delving into our past and understanding and creating spaces where we can have a conversation around who we are and what we want to be, can we actually move forward with a positive vision that does not just appeal to people in this room, but people who don't know what our message is, people who are maybe ambivalent of what's going on. Because those people who serve and the people who are left to tell about their stories and have to carry this country forward, it's our obligation to do just that. So I really appreciate if all of you could keep in the back of your mind that we have an event coming up, tentatively scheduled for September 3rd. We want to be flexible with our time, so that date is still kind of up in the air, but we are planning on having a wonderful panel, planning on having 4 to 5 veterans, people of color to speak on their experiences, not only serving, but also the time after service. What was the country they came back to? What was the things that they experienced? And what was the sort of understanding they had of their country after having served? And being able to square that reality with what they had been told prior to being served. And so we would really appreciate if people could come out and hear their stories. We want to create a space where everyone can feel comfortable no matter what their background or inclinations are, because ultimately this is about understanding the real history of this country. And we know that there are many people who would not let it happen. There are people who would much rather keep those things in the dark because it makes them uncomfortable, because they're afraid of them. But we know that the first step to really becoming an inclusive and progressive party is to have the courage to look those things in the eye and not walk away. Lastly, a shameless plug for those who do not know, I'm also the vice chair of the housing committee at the Arlington NAACP. And we have in the back wonderful signs. Just look over your left shoulder. Beautiful signs supporting innovation. And we have plenty of housing experts in the house. We have Helen Macbeth, our chair, as well as Mike over there. And I would like to say that I am at least somewhat informed, but I'm the student, they are the masters. So if you would ever like to have a conversation about this, I know it is a divisive topic to say the least, but we really would like people to be engaged on this issue because this is something that has not only historical roots, but is deeply woven into what kind of society we are going to be moving forward. So I appreciate you all for your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Next slide, please. Oh, okay, great.
Hi, I'm Elisa. I'm one of the family's co-chairs. Just a couple of announcements for us. We have the potluck planned for September 18th. And that's going to be at Lion Park Community Center, and Representative Spanberger will be there. Also, we have Get Out Vote postcards that we are working on. We have Spanberger and Gloria postcards right now, and we need those to be written and mailed as soon as possible. So if you go onto our Facebook page, you can see the sign up link to be able to sign up for those. And then the last thing is, one last thing is that we are joining Beyond Arlington on trips to Spanberger's district on Saturdays, and we encourage everybody who can to join us. Those are great trips, and they will be continuing on. Thanks.
Looks like my formatting is off here, just showing my phone though. As usual, per usual, we still have our farmers markets every weekend. And Courthouse, Columbia Pike and Fairleigh. I believe Fairleigh is starting up in September. Next slide, please. Before I get into grassroots, I just wanted to also make an announcement. So LULAC, ArlDems is partnered with LULAC, and there is a Viva Cultural Festival on Saturday, August 13th at Gateway Park. I believe NAACP is also partnering with LULAC. Okay, so grassroots in support of rural Virginians. So this isn't here today. I don't think so. I know she partners with Network Nova and various other grassroots coalitions, Virginia Grassroots Coalition as well, conducting phone banks for midterms. I'm not going to read all that. But next slide, please. Okay, so this is just something I wanted to talk about. Okay, so I put a few slides together. Some of you were at the steering committee meeting and I talked about people of color, and I just wanted to elaborate a little bit more. I'm not going to go into every different group because we don't have enough time, but this is just some information that I pulled up today that I think is very pertinent and everybody needs to know about this because the midterms are coming up. So POC voters and Democrats, why it matters. We're seeing a political realignment in real time. Democrats are the party of, these are words I've copied. Democrats are the party of upscale voters concerned about issues like gun control and abortion rights. Okay. And I know that the average POC, they feel left out. Also, we're losing young Dems and people of color. They're just tired of the status quo. These are comments that I heard when I was knocking on doors. Okay. And then supporting progressive candidates. For example, if you all follow Jessica Cisneros, she is a progressive candidate in Texas. She ran against Henry Cuellar. Democrats support, we're pro-choice. Yet Henry Cuellar is pro-life. So this is very confusing for our messaging, and that's something that needs to be looked at. Okay, and then next, we need to act on values to support as Democrats, anti-racism and inclusion. And just what Brian talked about, missing middle. You know, I know it's a divisive topic, you know, but it's a very important topic, and its roots are racist. Its roots are racist. And the next, we need to support youth, people of color, younger voters, do a lot more outreach. I mentioned the steering committee. President Barack Obama started out as a community organizer. He did not start out as a politician. And then also what I've been reading is Republicans are quietly, you know, building a multiracial coalition of working class voters with inflation as an accelerant. And the midterms are going to be scary, and we really need to act now. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so this is from The Economist. This is various races, and sadly, this is the job approval of our President Biden. This is from The Economist. So this is the work we need to do, guys. As you see, the numbers are all down. We need to reestablish trust with people of color in our community, and not only our community, but this entire country. You know, this is proof of it. This is a recent chart. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, I'm only going to cover Latinos and the AAPI. I just want to be mindful of time. So these are all stats that I pulled up, and they're all, you know, well sourced. So ironically, Trump did better in 2020 versus 2016 with the Latinos, despite all that rhetoric. What does that tell you? And then 46% of Latinos disapprove of President Biden, and the majority of them are in the 18 to 34 age range. Okay, and so then in 2021, the GOP addressed drug abuse in every Virginia election at every level since Trump first appeared on the ballot in 2016 by adopting more inclusive messaging toward minority groups, particularly Latinos. 29 of its 75% House targeted districts have a Hispanic population, over 50%. And the key factors or the key differentiators within the Latino population are inflation, so they're socially conservative because of abortion, religion, and LGBTQ. Next slide, please. AAPI. While the majority of AAPIs were Democrat, 52% said that they've never been reached out by the Democratic Party. Asian Americans, 56% of them identify as Democrats, 25 identify as Republican, and the majority Vietnamese, and further 17 as independents. Polling by The Economist finds that the president's approval rating among Asian voters fell from 66% to 42%. And then the RNC launched a 5-figure digital and print ad campaign for AAPI heritage. Next slide, please. Okay, some of you may remember this slide. I posted it or I shared it in the December 2021 general meeting. I'm not going to go through all the figures here, but I mean, these numbers are quite staggering. So the dark orange is not at all. 2020 campaign contact Democrats. Thinking about the 2020 elections, have you been contacted by the Democratic Party in the past year? All of the numbers are above 30%, not at all. So that tells you something. Like, we have a lot of outreach and work to do. Next slide, please. That's all I have.
Thank you very much, Anita, for that very kind message. We've got a lot of work ahead of us this fall. I'm sure everyone in this room is very happy about what happened in Kansas yesterday. And I can tell you, I am sure that the $25 I gave to Kansas for constitutional freedom made all the difference. So, see here, we've got more to do in 22. We've got the House and Senate up and multiple governorships being contested. And we're doing all we can to help Democrats win those races. There are many, many different ways to volunteer. We're best known for our canvassing, and we're always looking for more people to canvass. It's not that hard. I do it. But if you would rather stay at home, you can phone bank, you can text bank, you can write postcards with families. There are many, many different things. So every weekend we are out there with Abigail Spain. Every Saturday at 10 o'clock, we're in Woodbridge. We have opportunities to canvass elsewhere in Prince William, both Saturday and Sunday. There are also numerous other canvassing opportunities throughout our district. I've got to say, Abigail is going to get it all out on the field. And there are also opportunities to make phone calls for Abigail and to text for her. I would also add that she now has a regular Latino caucus. So if you know Prince William at all, there's a very large Hispanic population there. So we were in Virginia Beach last month to canvass for Elaine Murray. And we had a pretty successful experience. We're going back there in September. Elaine, of course, is serving on the January 6th committee, and we've all seen her in action. We all see the sort of petri business she's shown. And she is facing a very tough challenge for the Republicans. Her district's become more Republican, and she's facing a very well-funded opponent. And we really used you there in September. Plus, everything we can grab. And then last weekend, we went to Bucks County, Pennsylvania, and canvassed for the entire Democratic ticket, including John Federer and Josh Shapiro, as well as a number of local candidates. Thank you. We want to make sure that whatever happens at the top of the ticket, and the Republicans sure have a terrible top of the ticket in Pennsylvania. We've got a fascist and we've got a clown. We want to make sure the Democrats down. So we were canvassing for Democrats running for state senate, for state house of representatives, or candidate in the U.S. House of Representatives. So we really could use your help. Pennsylvania is always an important state, and Bucks County is one of the most important parts of Pennsylvania. So we are planning on going back in October, just in time for the foliage. So there are many opportunities to call and text voters all over the country. Once again, do that in the privacy of your own home. If you want help or leave out a phone bank, just drop us an email beyond@arlingtondemocrats.org, and we can supply you with the training. So thank you very much, and I'll see you out in the doors.
Thank you so much, Richard. Kevin, come on up.
Hello, my name is Kevin McCaffrey. I do voter support. Did you know there's an election? Have you heard about this? There's an election coming up on November 8th. It's a Saturday. Just kidding, it's a Tuesday. I've been warning you, I haven't had much to say, but I've been warning you, you're gonna hear more from me. We are coming into our busy season, our busy couple of months, or it's for our months, but voter support. We've got a lot going on in September and October. The main thing I want to talk to you about tonight is early voting full reading. You may remember that Virginia moved from absentee in person to full on, no excuse needed, early voting. In 2020, we put together a massive effort to let people know, hey, show up and vote, show up early, 45 days early. It's been a great experience. We've had people there every shift, every time, during every hour, where someone is able to go in and turn in a ballot 6 weeks ahead of the election. It's a large undertaking. We're in the middle of thinking it through, and we really want to do it again. We really want to make sure we don't cede any ground, we don't cede any enthusiasm. So we're going to be asking for a lot of volunteers. You'll hear more from me next month when we have all the signups ready to go. My ask for today is, if you have suggestions or high level of enthusiasm, or your brother or sister that you want to put forward to for a large amount of responsibility or a lot of shifts, please let me know, because I'm trying to work out really how to replace my predecessor who was on the ground. So would love to hear your thoughts. If you're able to say, you know what, I'm going to show up. I can be there at 8 a.m. in the morning to help open, or once, twice a week. It's really an opening shift on figuring out what to do with. More than anything else, just let me know that you're engaged and bring enthusiasm. And I'll be here next month with a pitch for you to sign up. Contact me. Voter support at ArlingtonDemocrats.org. Give me your thoughts on the early voting full reading effort. Share your enthusiasm. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Kevin. A lot of work ahead. Thanks everybody for those great reports. I want to thank the Outreach Committee for such a robust report. And it is absolutely true that we must be a big tent party and reach out to all of our communities in Arlington. There's nothing more important. It starts with being in those communities and doing the work and helping and being there for every purpose and reason that we can, whether it's helping folks that need a lift up or bringing new people into the party. And part of that is what Richard was talking to us about, canvassing and phone banking. There's no time better than getting out there on doors, talking to voters, and picking up the phone and calling voters. It felt so good to be up in Pennsylvania last weekend, knocking on doors on behalf of great candidates like Fetterman and Shapiro and all the other folks we were knocking doors for. So that's the work we do as Democrats. We must do it in each and every community within our community. And that's the work I love to do, and I know that's the work that you guys want to do. We do have a couple more announcements before we wrap up, and a surprise guest speaker. One, so Charlie Conrad, as you might have seen, resigned his 8th district seat because he was recently elected state chair of the Veterans and Military Families Caucus. I think that the normal course of action in those circumstances is that we'll take names. If you're interested in running for that seat, let me know, and we'll have an election next month at this meeting to fill Charlie's open seat. It is a male seat, so you have to be a male in Arlington County in order to run for that seat. But reach out to me at chair@arlingtondemocrats.org if you're interested in that. And we'll have that election next month. Now, our surprise guest, if you remember from December, Jennifer Wheelock came and spoke to us about some very critical budget topics. And I think she has a couple minutes to share with us the recent deal that we're putting together in the Senate.
Democratic Majority Corps, and the Budget Committee is the committee of jurisdiction for reconciliation, which is much in the news again. Because as I told you all in December, Democrats have to get this done. We have to. And it's taken many months, and here we are in August of 2022, much longer than I thought it might be. But here we are, we're very close to getting it done. And as you know, it is historic investments, the greatest level of our investments in climate change and energy security, roughly $370 billion of investments. We are finally going to start negotiating Medicare drug prices. We are extending Affordable Care Act subsidies. We are investing in we have tax changes in there that ensure the wealthy and corporations will pay their fair share. And the amazing thing is, with all of this legislation, the CBO released their score today, it also reduces the deficit over 10 hours. It will always completely pay for with more money still going back to the treasury. It's a tremendous, tremendous piece of legislation. Important things, unfortunately, got dropped out along the way that I'm quite sad about. All the more reason, though, to elect more Democrats, and hopefully we keep the House and keep the Senate and can do more good things next year. So anyhow, I want to give you that little update on that. And I will also say too that the PACT Act, the other important thing in the PACT Act, as the earlier speaker mentioned, it addresses toxic exposures for our veterans, amongst other things. It also, importantly, and this is what all the fight was over the weekend, it importantly begins to really protect veterans funding in the future and sets it aside so that we're not fighting every year over how much we should give for veterans medical care. It creates an entitlement for them. And so that's just really tremendous situations. Questions? Pieces of legislation? Yep. Yeah, I'm sorry, yeah, they're right, yeah.
I'm curious, I heard something about as part of the deal, something about the Mountain Valley Pipeline. And I know that's an issue of a lot of people in Virginia.
Yeah, I have seen that too, and I'll be honest, I haven't been able to get into the details. Oh, I think that's about the Mountain Valley Pipeline and whether or not there was a deal with Senator Manchin, I think, in that regards to pipeline. I assume the media reports are correct. I'll be honest, I have not had a chance to sort of dig into all of the text of it. I'm still counting it in billions of dollars as we work our way through. In the orange? Yeah, no, it's truly like it's just historic investments in climate change. It's really sad to see that we've lost universal paid leave and childcare. Like I said, more Democrats, let's get that done, but that's historic investments in climate change that will address both like supply and demand side and really begin to move there.
Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you so much for that update. Yeah, the answer is we just need a couple more Democrats in the Senate. One more plug for John Fetterman. We used to drive 2 hours to get down to Chesterfield County for Abigail Spanberger. It only took 3 hours to get up to Doylestown, PA. It wasn't that bad of a drive. So keep following Beyond Arlington for whenever they go back, if they go there, Harrisburg. A lot of great work ahead of us. Thanks everyone for being here today. Remember the 8th district election next month. Be well, stay safe, volunteer, get out there and talk to voters. Again, thanks everyone for being here tonight.